Magic, a fantastical power that makes the impossible possible, redefining the laws of nature and the world right before our eyes. Or, as I like to call it, the biggest writing cop-out of the 21st century.
What?
Magic in storytelling has always been a double-edged sword. Not only does it make the impossible possible, but it also explains the impossible. That was way too many possibles. And this leads to less than detailed story elements. I mean, just look at the new Fantastic Beasts movies and you'll see what I'm talking about. Whenever a fantasy writer needs an easy and quick cop-out, boom, it's magic. That's how we got Battle Shonen's biggest antagonist, fairy shit.
Hey, stop! Why? I just don't get it. I always catch you fuckers watching this sick shit.
But what if you turn the concept around on its head? Instead of magic being a cop-out, it becomes the driving force in your story that forces you as a writer to be more creative. You say that Witch Hat Atelier, yeah, that word. To say that this manga has the most creative magic system I've read in a story would be the understatement of the year. While I was told that manga like Black Clover has a creative magic system, that turned out to be a goddamn lie because after reading 100 chapters, I realized their powers are just fairy tale with books. But Witch Hat turns the whole system on its head. Magic isn't some flowing power that can be boosted by training, screaming, and believing in the power of friendship. It's a craft akin to drawing, quite literally in this story, that you have to practice over and over again to perfection, leading to some of the most creative solutions I've seen in a power system since, well, Hunter x Hunter. Although, not as complicated. Magic in this world is used by drawing seals, and the spells come out based on how the witch drew the seal. If one of the lines is too long, then your water spell will splash to one side rather than all around.
When you wake up and look in the mirror, remind yourself that you a bitch.
If your lines are too straight, then your flying magical shoes will be faster than the ones drawn with thicker lines. It's a really creative way to do magic, and it allows the story to benefit greatly from it. And boy, does it. Just not at first. Confession time. Most of the first volume of this manga I found rather boring. And it wasn't until the final chapters of the first volume that I actually started to like it. Now is a good time to describe the story to you guys who haven't read this manga. The story follows Coco, a young girl with a love of magic who lives alone with her mother in the countryside. From the first pages alone, I've read enough manga to know exactly where the story was going. Let me guess, she's gonna use some forbidden spell to do something bad to her mother, and the handsome witch guy is gonna make her his apprentice so she can learn the ways of magic in order to save her mother. That's exactly what happened, and I guess my problem with the first volume is that it was too predictable. Other than the power system, nothing about the story stood out from the several others with the same premise. You have your rival characters, your white-haired hot teacher, and your villain that wants something to do with the protagonist because she's special somehow. So what did eventually make Witch Hat Atelier stand out on its own? Two things. First, the art. Someone give Shirahama-sensei more prizes because, my god, this woman's pen must be blessed by the heavens. Coming from an artist who has done multiple covers for Western comics, giving her her own manga was about the same obvious choice as giving Odd Taxi Anime of the Year in 2021.
It should have been me, not him!
The visuals in this manga are off the charts. This manga is easily in the same category as Berserk when it comes to visuals enhancing the story. Also, praying that when this anime gets an adaptation, they stay away from the CG. This is one of those mangas that I recommend you pick up the physical copy of, because every time you turn those pages, you're in for some highly detailed and just plain amazing magical scenery. The second thing is the world building. Sure, the first volume tells you all the basics you need to know, but it's one of those scenarios where the exposition dumping of the first volume actually pays off really well for the rest of the story. You start to find out more about this world, why everyone is not a witch, the different types of wands you have, where this magical ink comes from, and more importantly, more insight into all characters. Everyone in Coco's Atelier is there for a reason, learning magic for a reason. Witch Hat takes the time to thoroughly explore its characters while simultaneously moving the plot forward. Every arc, we learn something new about our core cast and the world at large. I'm not the biggest fan of bad guy lurking in the shadows at the end of each arc, talking in nonsense that we're only gonna understand until way later in the story. I call this the Shigaraki because Homeboy did that for 4 seasons straight. Anyway, Witch Hat's story works because every character is a what-if scenario that shows not only Coco, but us as an audience more of this magical world. What if you're colorblind? Gonna be kind of hard to tell the difference between magical potions. What if you're only interested in your own spells? Gonna be kind of hard to utilize the creative magical power system. What if you just want to help others with your own magic? Gonna be kind of hard if every time you turn around people are trying to kill you because the new girl is the protagonist. I can't take this anymore! Why do you have to be the protagonist? Because I'm the protagonist. I'm somehow special and everyone's in danger. Precisely. Oscar, dinner. Yeah, that's the good shit. The characters are more than just foils for Coco's journey. Not only is the world fully realized, but each character has something going on that either contributes to the main story or adds an additional side element expanding the world. There's a scene in Volume 5 where the girls are tasked with undoing a certain spell, and it takes all their talents to do so. Stick with me as I try my best to pronounce these names. In this scene, it's Tia's drive to stay positive and help others that motivates the group, and Coco's lack of experience in the witch world that leads her to think outside the box, and Agat's spell that allows them to carry out the plan successfully. And it works because these traits didn't come out of nowhere. They were established throughout every action these characters took in the story so far. Of course, Coco, the outsider who was not raised in the witch world, would be the only one to consider, hey, how about we reverse it and take magic out of the equation? Of course, the character who has been a ray of sunshine since day one is the saving grace that keeps the group positive. Because these sacks of teenage angst weren't gonna do it. And of course, the character that spends day in and day out obsessing over becoming a fully realized witch is the one talented enough to pull off the plan. She may have a stick up her ass for most of the story, but hey, girl's got style.
You may not like him, Minister, but you can't deny Dumbledore's got style.
At the end of the day, it's brilliant character writing and great storytelling, and I just love shit like this. Witch Hat is a wonderful story filled with a great power system, wonderful fleshed out characters, world building to rival the best out there, and enough intrigue and mystery to keep you flipping through the pages. And of course, the visuals slap. If you want a magic story where magic isn't the reason that explains the author's BS writing, but instead the crutch that flexes the story creativity to the extreme, then I can think of no better manga than this one. I'm only 5 volumes in as of the recording of this video, but I cannot wait for whatever Komune Shirahama's magical world will bring me next. Witch Hat Atelier. Witch Hat Atelier. Witch Hat Atelier. Fuck it.
Atelier.
That's all for me today. I know it's rare for me to talk about a manga, but hey, I picked it up from a library and I kind of fell in love with it. What a trip to a library can do to a man. But like I said, that's all for me today. If you like this type of video, then hit that sub and bell button so we can finally beat that algorithm. And if you want more from us personally, then go over to our Twitch because we stream weekly. And also, check out that Twitter because I post up there constantly, probably a little too much. And if you want to tell me to stop posting these videos, then head over to that Discord to message me personally. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, my friends, I'm RJ Lane, and this has been